What is going on, horror fans? Scream Fanatic here. And in this video, I want to do a movie review for the third Scream movie after already reviewing the first two. And I got a couple more to go. I don't know if I'll do reviews on 5 and 6 since I did a video talking about why 5 and 6 or 5 worked and 6 didn't. That was already technically reviewed. So actually Scream 4 might be my final review. But I'm going to talk about this film. This was like the trilogy of the first two before, the 11-year hiatus leading to the fourth one. And my opinions on this movie, it was a good movie, but I felt like it was the weakest link of the trilogy. Obviously, it was good, but I felt 1 and 2 kind of clear, sort of. I feel like Scream 1 and 2 are sort of in their own tier, if that makes sense. But this obviously, it had a good story. Now we move on to a new city, Hollywood. I think last time we were in Ohio, I believe, I'm not quite sure, but now we're in Hollywood, which was the perfect setting for the villain, Roman Bridger, the director, right? But this movie sort of went back full circle to not just the backstory with Sidney Prescott, but Sidney's mother and her mother's upbringing and why her mother turned out the way she did, why she became promiscuous because she got taken advantage of, by the Hollywood executives. I kind of like how, they explored that in this film. And also I found it very interesting how in this movie, Sidney, she kind of did the right thing, trying to stay hidden, moving cities, working as a crisis counselor, going under a new alias as Laura. That was pretty smart, but of course, it didn't work because there just so happened to be a long-lost brother who was hunting her down and wanted to kill her off to complete the arc, right? But, to frame her for killing everyone else by using the voice changers. And man, I thought the voice changers that Roman Bridger was using, I thought that was freaky, honestly. Like, that actually scared me. Like, for example, the opening kill where, Roman Bridger was phoning Cotton Weary while he was in the car. Cotton Weary hears a woman's voice. But then the woman's voice changes to a Ghostface voice, threatening his girlfriend. And then Cotton rushes home. And then Cotton's girlfriend, Christine, hears Cotton's voice, thinking it's Cotton. And she thinks Cotton is trying to kill her. So then when Cotton actually gets home, she has trust issues. She prevents Cotton from protecting her, clubs her in the head, compromises him just on time for the real Ghostface to show up, kill her off, and then kill Cotton. And man, all I gotta say is, man, they did not need to kill off Cotton Weary. That was very frustrating because he redeemed himself. He redeemed himself towards the end of, Scream 2. He got closure with Sidney. He embraced the hero arc. It would have been nice to see him continue, going forward in the franchise, but they just had to kill him off brutally. And it was very interesting when you have this Ghostface saying, all you had to do, you had a simple game. Tell me where Sidney Prescott is. And now you lose. Although I don't know if he would have spared Cotton's life because Ghostface killers will always say, if you win this game, I'll spare you. But they're going to kill you either way. Like once you get the phone call, you're pretty much marked for death. But yeah, the voice changing throughout the entire movie was just so interesting. It was so crazy. It was so terrifying because it's so scary how people can be fooled. You could think it's one person talking when this whole time it's someone else entirely. That was pretty scary. I thought that was well done. Roman Bridger was definitely one of the best villains, one of the best Ghostface characters throughout the whole franchise. Top 5 for sure. Definitely one of the most intelligent masterminds. I mean, he did everything by himself, or did he? Maybe there was Angelina Tyler helping him, maybe not. But I mean, this guy, for as far as we know, as far as what's confirmed, he ran the whole show. He did all the mass murders by himself with no accomplice. He used voice changers to trick people. And he tried luring her out of hiding so then he can complete the arc by killing her, after killing her mom. And, we discover that this whole time, Billy wasn't the mastermind of the original Woodsboro murders. It was Roman Bridger. Roman Bridger was the one who directed Billy and directed Stu, right? because Roman and Billy shared the same pain. Roman Bridger, as we discovered, was abandoned by Maureen Prescott, his mother, and then Maureen slept with Billy's father, causing Billy's mama to walk out on him, abandon him, which made both of them angry. Both of them worked together, and apparently Roman Bridger was the one who gave Billy Loomis the tips on what to do, how to do the murder spree, which is kind of disappointing. Like, I would like to think that Billy did everything by himself. He thought of everything by himself. I mean, it was smart that Roman said, yeah, you need an accomplice that you could sell out just in case you get caught. You got to do this, you got to do that, yada, yada, yada. But I think it would have been way better if it was just Billy, in my opinion. And it would have been if it wasn't for the Columbine shootings, because we were going to have Stu back for Scream 3 originally, which of course we're going to have him back for Scream 7. So, it's neither here nor there. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed the movie. I also enjoyed some of the new characters we were introduced to, like Patrick Dempsey's Mark Kincaid. I thought he was perfect for Sidney, and it sucks that he's not coming back for Scream 7, and we get Joel McHale's Mark Evans. Very unfortunate, I love that relationship. I also kind of love that cop-to-cop rivalry that Mark and Dewey kind of had for each other before they kind of got along towards the end. And I also liked the rivalry between Jennifer Jolie, who was playing Gale Weathers in Stab 3, and the real Gale Weathers. I thought that was pretty funny. Jennifer acting like I can be Gale better than you can be Gale, and Gale just insulting her, roasting her. That was a pretty funny dynamic, and I really liked that Tyson guy, and I hate that he had to die, man. He was actually one of my favorite characters. Just like, Joel in the last movie was my favorite character. And I thought he'd be a Joel archetype, the scared brother, you know what I mean? I'm a brother myself. You've seen my last video. You've seen my hands. Not my face, but my hands. I thought he was going to be another scared, smart brother that survives. I watched Scream 3 years ago, and I thought, my memory of it is that he got away and survived, but no, Roman freaking kills him, sadly. That was disappointing. But yeah, the new characters were pretty great. And of course, the original OG characters, can never go wrong with Dewey Riley, can never go wrong with Gale Weathers and their relationship. And of course, they get engaged at the end. You can never go wrong with Sidney Prescott. And, I already gave Roman Bridger credit earlier, but I got to give him credit again. I thought Scott Foley, I thought he really killed the role. As Roman Bridger. And then also Angelina Tyler. We got to talk about her because, man, she was so suspicious. Was she really innocent? I've already done that video of her, being in the bathroom with the Ghostface costume, then Sidney leaving the bathroom, exploring the Woodsboro set, then being attacked by a Ghostface, and me thinking it was Angelina, because Roman Bridger was literally in a meeting during all of this with John Milton, unless he just conveniently teleported. And Angelina originally was supposed to be Roman's official accomplice. I really don't think they changed that. I mean, they're kind of just leaving it up to the fans' interpretation, but I don't really think we got it wrong with Angelina Tyler, And she just gave very weird and like crazy vibes, especially when, what's her name again? Jennifer Jolie and Gale were trying to get Angelina to run out of the mansion with them. And Angelina's like, no, I'm not going to die with you, lower tier actors, or whatever she said. She literally ran away from the exit deeper into the house, almost like she was trying to lure them further in to the kill zone, and then she ended up getting killed herself. But I don't think her being killed off really spares her from me suspecting her to be one of the Ghostface killers, because like I've said many times, sometimes Ghostface killers will kill each other off. I mean, Jill literally killed off Charlie Walker, so yeah. I wouldn't put it past Roman Bridger to kill off his own accomplice, once she no longer served him. But man, that final act with that mansion chase or whatever, where Roman Bridger, he threw a house party, had all of his cast members with him, the ones who were still alive. And the way he used Sidney's voice on the phone to bait Gale and Dewey to that house, that was genius. That was freaking genius. And then, of course, we know what happens. Roman Bridger, he says he's going to go on a tour around John Milton's mansion. People follow him around, then he fakes his own death. And then he pops out in his Ghostface costume, starts killing everyone, including sadly killed Jennifer, sadly killed Tyson, sadly killed Angelina. I liked Angelina, and almost killed, Dewey and Gale, and, got Sidney to show up. And luckily Mark showed up as a reinforcement, but I want to talk about this final act and something I didn't like. I feel like Roman shouldn't have been able to beat up cops like Dewey and Mark Kincaid. Now I get it, maybe he compromised them with the knife or the element of surprise, but these are trained cops, and Roman Scott Foley doesn't strike me as someone that can fight or throw down like that. So to me, it just seemed like convenient plot armor that he was able to kind of whoop both their asses. But then again, I don't personally know Scott Foley. Maybe he's trained, or maybe even Roman Bridger himself, the character in universe, has some combat training. Maybe it's beyond just plot armor, convenience. But I love the way Roman Bridger weaponized John Milton's mansion in that final act, because that whole place was trippy and tricky. Like that scene where Jennifer Jolie was killed off. It was that part where she was looking at Dewey and Gale through what she thought was a window. On her end, it was a window, but on Dewey and Gale's end, it was a mirror that was soundproof. So they could not hear her scream. They did not know what was going on until it was too late. So that sucked. That was frustrating to watch, but that was also very terrifying. And then even that scene where Roman Bridger cornered Sidney in that one room in that mansion, and, Dewey and Gale were trying to find where they were, but they couldn't because of how the whole place was set up. That was pretty terrifying, because what if Roman would have killed Sidney Prescott and Dewey and Gale couldn't have saved them? That would have been horrible, But Roman almost did kill Sidney Prescott with that chokehold. They had that crazy back and forth fight where Sidney was holding her own, but then Roman started overpowering her, almost choked her to death. And then I thought Dewey and Gale unlocked the door, but it was Mark Kincaid. But Mark, of course, gets put down once again, and then Sidney gets back up. And I thought this scene was pretty funny where, Sidney's like, oh, you lost something, and had Roman's knife, and then Roman's like, I found something, shot Sidney. And when Sidney went down, I was like, okay, did Sidney just get wounded, but she's just going to conveniently get back up? And then I realized, oh wait, I do vaguely remember she wore a bulletproof vest, which was very smart, and that came in handy, because if she didn't have that vest, she would have been dead. And I loved how she flipped things around and stabbed Roman Bridger. And then, of course, Dewey and Gale get in that room on time, and, it was so funny how... It was just so funny how Dewey was like, be careful. Randy says a lot of these villains are superhuman. And then right when Sidney says this guy wasn't superhuman, she jinxes it. Roman pops back up for one final scare. And Dewey keeps shooting him in the bulletproof vest. And Sidney's like, the head, Dewey, the head. And then finally Dewey shoots Roman in the head. And that's it. It's done. Another Ghostface bites the dust for now. And then luckily, Sidney and the Core 3, they get a good 11-year break up until Scream 4, which I'm going to review next. But man, overall, very good movie. And Roman, man, this guy was wicked. He was evil. And funny thing is, I know Roman's a fan favorite, but what I'm going to say about Roman, he's one of the few Ghostface killers that I actually hate. And not because he was a bad character. He was a perfectly written character. He should be a fan favorite. I just feel like he was the most evil. Like, this is someone who literally killed his own mother. Think about that. Imagine killing your own mom just because she abandoned you, or you get her killed. You organize a hit against her. You get her R-worded and murdered by two other people. Talk about disloyalty. Sometimes it be your own people. And then trying to kill your own half-sister. Like, my brother in Christ, are you serious? Like, I watched that movie feeling so angry and vexed at Roman. Like, waiting for this guy to get his comeuppance. Being so annoyed that he was just so invincible. So annoyed he was unstoppable. So annoyed knowing if it weren't for Sidney, Roman was probably going to slime out everyone in that house including Kincaid, Dewey, and Gale, and that just wouldn't have sat right with me. But hey, that's how you write a good villain. You make them invincible, and you make them as evil as possible. And like I said, man, Roman was one crafty SOB. The way he did everything by himself, as far as it's confirmed, even though I don't believe it. And I also like that scene. I didn't like that he killed Sarah. That was pretty disturbing. But I thought it was pretty sick when Sarah was hiding in that room, in that film set place or whatever. And there was a bunch of Ghostface costumes on these hangers. And I just knew that Roman was hiding, blending in amongst all the costumes. And I knew he was going to pop out. And that was such a cool shot when you see that one Ghostface head slide sideways. And you know, oh, shoot, that's the killer. He's there. Sarah's cooked. And then, of course, Sarah gets killed. Very disturbing scene, especially when Roman, used that voice changer to trick her as well. But yeah, I will give this movie a solid 6.5 out of 10. And now I will give my review on Scream 4 once I'm done watching it. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe, and peace out.